In the ancient mists of time, long before humans had tamed the land and sea, the world was a place of great mystery where gods, spirits, and mystical forces shaped the landscape. On the eastern continent, within this enchanted world, there existed a remarkable place known as the Mountain of Flowers and Fruit. This mountain was unlike any other, as it was rich with divine energy, a place where the forces of heaven and earth met and intertwined. At the summit of this mountain lay a giant stone that had been formed from the primal forces of chaos when the universe was first born. This stone was no ordinary rock. It was charged with the purest essence of heaven and earth, having absorbed the energy of the sun and moon for thousands of years. The celestial energies nurtured the stone, causing it to pulse with a life force that grew stronger with each passing day. One day, under the watchful eyes of the gods, the stone began to stir. It trembled and cracked, glowing with a radiant golden light. From within the stone, a golden egg emerged, glowing as brightly as the sun itself. The egg, infused with the essence of the universe, split open, and from it sprang a fully formed monkey. His birth caused such a stir that the very foundations of the mountain shook and the waters around it surged in response. This was the moment when Sun Wukong, the future Monkey King, was born. He possessed extraordinary strength, agility, and intelligence from the moment he took his first breath. His presence alone was enough to capture the attention of the animals on the mountain, and it wasn't long before he encountered the other monkeys who lived there. The monkeys of the Mountain of Flowers and Fruit were captivated by this new, powerful being. They saw in him a leader, someone destined for greatness. Sun Wukong quickly established himself among them, demonstrating not only his superior physical abilities, but also his quick wit and cunning mind. The other monkeys respected him, and it was clear that he was unlike any other creature they had ever known. As Sun Wukong grew, he explored every corner of the mountain with a relentless curiosity. One day, while playing with his fellow monkeys, they came upon a powerful waterfall. The waterfall was majestic, its waters thundering down into a clear pool below. The monkeys speculated that something special might be hidden behind the curtain of water, something only the bravest among them could discover. One by one, the monkeys dared each other to leap through the waterfall, but none had the courage to attempt it. Sun Wukong, however, was fearless. Determined to uncover the secret behind the waterfall, he gathered his strength and leaped through the roaring cascade. On the other side of the waterfall, Sun Wukong discovered a hidden cave. It was a paradise filled with sparkling stones, lush vegetation, and the aura of mystical energy. The air inside the cave was cool and refreshing, and it resonated with a serene beauty that seemed untouched by time. Sun Wukong knew immediately that he had found something special, a place that could serve as a perfect home for him and his companions. Excited by his discovery, Sun Wukong returned to the other monkeys and urged them to follow him through the waterfall. Trusting in their new leader, the monkeys gathered their courage and jumped through the cascading water one after another. When they emerged on the other side and saw the hidden cave, they were awestruck. It was indeed a perfect sanctuary, safe from the danger of the outside world. The monkeys, grateful to Sun Wukong for his bravery and leadership, unanimously declared him their king. From that day forward, he was known as the handsome Monkey King, ruler of the Mountain of Flowers and Fruit. Sun Wukong's reign began with the promise of peace and prosperity, but beneath the surface, a restless energy drove him to seek something more, something beyond the simple pleasures of life on the mountain. Though Sun Wukong ruled wisely and was beloved by his subjects, he could not shake a growing unease. One day, as he sat on his throne in the hidden cave, he began to contemplate the nature of life and death. Despite his immense strength and intelligence, he realized that he was still vulnerable to the one fate that all living beings share: death. This realization haunted Sun Wukong. The thought of dying and losing everything he had built filled him with dread. He knew that no matter how powerful he became, his life would eventually end and his kingdom would be left without a ruler. Determined to overcome this terrifying fate, Sun Wukong resolved to find a way to escape death itself. Thus began Sun Wukong's quest for immortality. Leaving his kingdom behind, he set off on a journey across the world, seeking out wise sages, powerful deities, and anyone who could teach him the secret to eternal life. His journey would take him far from the mountain of flowers and fruit into the unknown, where he would encounter beings of great power and learn secrets that would change his destiny forever. Sun Wukong's journey led him through vast landscapes, from towering mountains to deep valleys, across raging rivers and through dense forests. He sought out the wise sages and immortals, those who had transcended the mortal coil, hoping to learn from them. However, the journey was long and arduous, and despite his many encounters with powerful beings, none could offer him the true secret of immortality. After years of wandering, Sun Wukong finally arrived at the Western continent, where he had heard of a great Taoist master named Patriarch Subodhi. This master was known to possess great wisdom and had lived for centuries, hidden from the eyes of the world. Sun Wukong knew that if anyone could teach him the secret to eternal life, it would be this master. When Sun Wukong first approached Subodhi's mountain, he was eager and determined. However, Patriarch Subodhi, a wise and discerning teacher, did not accept disciples lightly. When Sun Wukong requested to be taken as a disciple, Subodhi initially refused him, testing the Monkey King's sincerity and patience. But Sun Wukong was not easily deterred. He displayed humility and persistence, remaining at the foot of the mountain and serving the master without complaint. He was willing to do anything to prove his worthiness. After some time, Subodhi, impressed by Sun Wukong's dedication, agreed to take him as a disciple and teach him the ways of Taoist magic. Under the guidance of Patriarch Subodhi, Sun Wukong's education began. He was a quick learner, mastering everything that Subodhi taught with ease. Among the many mystical arts he learned were the 72 earthly transformations, which granted him the ability to transform into various animals, objects, and even other people. This power allowed Sun Wukong to disguise himself or evade capture by changing his shape at will. Sun Wukong also learned the cloud somersault technique, a powerful ability that enabled him to leap great distances in a single bound. With a single somersault, he could travel 108,000 li, approximately 54,000 kilometers, crossing the world in an instant. This ability made him nearly impossible to catch, as he could escape or reach any destination with incredible speed. Through rigorous training, meditation, and the study of ancient Taoist scriptures, Sun Wukong achieved a form of immortality, making him immune to the ravages of time and disease. However, this immortality did not fully protect him from the authority of the underworld, as his name was still recorded in the Book of Life and Death. Sun Wukong's immortality did not go unnoticed by the forces that govern life and death. One night, while he was sleeping, the agents of the underworld, Oxhead and Horseface, came for him. These two formidable guardians of the underworld had been sent to bring Sun Wukong's soul to Diyu, the realm of the dead, as his name still appeared in the Book of Life and Death. When Sun Wukong realized what was happening, he was furious. How could the underworld dare to claim him when he had achieved immortality? Filled with anger, Sun Wukong overpowered Oxhead and Horseface and fought his way through the underworld, defeating the guardians and making his way to the hall where the 10 kings of the underworld presided. The 10 kings, who oversaw the fates of souls, were shocked by Sun Wukong's audacity and power. Unfazed by their authority, Sun Wukong demanded to see the Book of Life and Death. When the register containing his name was brought before him, Sun Wukong grabbed the brush used by the scribes and, with a single stroke, erased his name from the book. But he didn't stop there. He also erased the names of the other monkeys from the mountain of flowers and fruit, ensuring that none of his subjects would ever face death. This act was an unprecedented defiance of the natural order. By erasing his name from the Book of Life and Death, Sun Wukong had placed himself beyond the reach of natural death, truly becoming immortal in every sense. This defiance further fueled his arrogance, making him believe that there was nothing left that could threaten him. Having achieved what he believed was true immortality, Sun Wukong returned to his kingdom on the mountain of flowers and fruit. His subjects welcomed him back as a hero, marveling at his newfound powers and his defiance of the natural order. Sun Wukong resumed his role as their king, ruling with wisdom and strength, but now with an unshakable confidence in his invincibility. However, Sun Wukong's ambitions had grown far beyond the simple life of ruling over monkeys. He was no longer satisfied with just being the king of the mountain of flowers and fruit. He desired recognition and power on a grander scale. This ambition would soon lead him to challenge the very heavens themselves. Although Sun Wukong was now immortal and possessed extraordinary powers, he still felt the need for a weapon that could match his might. A weapon that could reflect his growing ambition and befit a ruler of his stature. Determined to find such a weapon, Sun Wukong set out on another journey, this time to the depths of the Eastern Sea, where he had heard of a legendary treasure guarded by the Dragon Kings. Sun Wukong made his way to the palace of Aoguang, the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea. The Dragon King's palace was a magnificent structure, located deep beneath the ocean's surface. It was a place of great opulence, filled with treasures and relics of unimaginable value, all hidden away in the depths of the sea. When Sun Wukong arrived at the palace, he demanded to see the most powerful weapon in the Dragon King's possession. Aoguang, intimidated by Sun Wukong's reputation and power, reluctantly agreed. He presented Sun Wukong with several weapons, but none of them satisfied the Monkey King. They were either too light, too fragile, or simply unworthy of someone of his strength. Growing frustrated, Sun Wukong demanded something truly special, something that no one else could wield. The Dragon King, fearing Sun Wukong's wrath, remembered an ancient treasure that had been lying unused in his vault for ages, the Ruyi Jingubang. It was an iron staff that had once been used by Yu the Great, a legendary sage king, to measure the depth of the floodwaters during the time of the Great Flood. The staff had since rested at the bottom of the sea, its power unmatched and its weight immeasurable. It was said to weigh 13,500 jin, approximately 8,100 kilograms or nearly 18,000 pounds, making it impossible for anyone to lift until now. When the Dragon King led Sun Wukong to the staff, it appeared as a massive iron pillar, anchored firmly to the ocean floor. At first glance, it seemed far too large to be wielded by any mortal or immortal. However, when Sun Wukong approached it, he effortlessly lifted the staff with one hand, commanding it to shrink to a more manageable size. The Ruyi Jingubang obeyed his command, shrinking down to the size of a small rod that fit perfectly in his grasp. The staff had another remarkable property. It could change its size at will, expanding to towering heights or shrinking to the size of a needle. Sun Wukong was thrilled with his new weapon. He knew that the Ruyi Jingubang was the perfect companion for his growing powers, a symbol of his might and a tool that would help him achieve even greater feats. Arming himself further, pleased with the Ruyi Jingubang, Sun Wukong returned to the Dragon King and demanded more treasures to match his newfound power. The Dragon King, eager to appease the powerful Monkey King, offered him a set of enchanted armor, a golden chainmail shirt that made him nearly invulnerable, a phoenix feather cap that enhanced his speed and agility, and cloud-walking boots that allowed him to traverse the skies with ease. Fully armed and armored, Sun Wukong now looked every bit the part of a king or even a god. His confidence soared, and with it his arrogance. He was no longer content with ruling over the monkeys of the mountain of flowers and fruit. He believed that his true place was among the celestial beings who ruled the heavens. His ambition knew no bounds, and he decided that it was time to claim his rightful place among the gods. With his newfound power and his mighty weapon, Sun Wukong ascended to the heavens. He traveled on his cloud-walking boots, crossing the skies with ease, until he reached the celestial palace of the Jade Emperor, the supreme ruler of heaven. Sun Wukong boldly entered the Jade Emperor's court, causing a great disturbance among the celestial beings. His arrival was unexpected, and his audacity left the gods stunned. The Jade Emperor, aware of Sun Wukong's growing reputation, was initially amused by the Monkey King's audacity. Rather than reacting with anger, the Jade Emperor decided to appease Sun Wukong by offering him a position in the celestial bureaucracy. However, the position he offered was that of Protector of the Horses, Bimoen, a lowly role responsible for tending to the heavenly steeds. Sun Wukong, believing this was an honorable position, accepted the role and began his duties in the celestial stables. However, it wasn't long before he realized the truth, that he had been given a menial job far beneath what he believed he deserved. The other celestial beings treated him as a mere stable hand, not as an equal, and this filled him with fury. Feeling humiliated by the Jade Emperor's treatment, Sun Wukong abandoned his post in the heavenly stables and returned to his mountain. Enraged by the insult, he declared himself the great sage equal to heaven, Qitian Dashang, a title that he believed reflected his true status as a being on par with the gods. He had a banner made with this title and established himself as a sovereign ruler, independent of the heavenly order. This declaration was more than just a title. It was an open challenge to the authority of the Jade Emperor and the celestial hierarchy. By proclaiming himself equal to the gods, Sun Wukong had set himself on a collision course with the very powers that governed the universe. His defiance was complete, and his actions would soon lead to a confrontation that would shake the heavens themselves. The Jade Emperor, ruler of heaven, was deeply troubled by Sun Wukong's actions. The very idea that a mere monkey could declare himself equal to the gods was an affront to the celestial order. However, the Jade Emperor was not one to act rashly. He first sought to appease Sun Wukong, hoping to avoid conflict. He offered Sun Wukong a place among the gods, this time as an official member of the celestial bureaucracy, under the title Great Sage equal to heaven. Though it was merely a title with no real power, Sun Wukong accepted, believing he had finally been recognized by the heavens. Despite this, Sun Wukong soon grew bored and dissatisfied with his new position. He found that, although he had a grand title, he was not given any significant duties or responsibilities. His title was meant to placate him, not empower him, and this realization fueled his resentment. Bored and insulted, Sun Wukong returned to the Mountain of Flowers and Fruit, where he fully embraced his self-proclaimed title. He began to rule as an independent sovereign, disregarding the authority of heaven. He gathered an army of demon allies, many of whom were attracted by his power and reputation. Together they fortified the mountain, preparing for the inevitable clash with the forces of heaven. The Jade Emperor, realizing that Sun Wukong would not be content with a meaningless title and fearing the growing power of the Monkey King, decided to act. He dispatched an army of celestial soldiers to subdue Sun Wukong and bring him to justice. However, the Jade Emperor underestimated Sun Wukong's strength and determination. The celestial army, led by some of the mightiest warriors in heaven, descended upon the Mountain of Flowers and Fruit. Sun Wukong, armed with his Ruyi Jingubang and protected by his enchanted armor, met them head-on. The battle that ensued was fierce and chaotic, with Sun Wukong's army of demons clashing against the celestial soldiers. Sun Wukong's mastery of the 72 earthly transformations allowed him to outmaneuver his enemies, changing his shape at will to confuse and evade capture. He also used his body outside of body technique, creating countless clones of himself, each wielding the Ruyi Jingubang. The celestial soldiers were overwhelmed by the sheer number of Sun Wukongs, and their ranks were quickly decimated. Despite their best efforts, the celestial forces were no match for the Monkey King. Sun Wukong single-handedly defeated the Jade Emperor's army, sending the survivors fleeing back to heaven. It was a humiliating defeat for the Jade Emperor, and it became clear that more drastic measures would be needed to subdue Sun Wukong. Following his victory over the celestial army, Sun Wukong's arrogance grew even greater. He decided to take his defiance to the next level by infiltrating the Peach Banquet, a grand feast held in heaven to celebrate the ripening of the peaches of immortality. These peaches were a sacred treasure, taking thousands of years to ripen and bestowing eternal life upon those who consumed them. Sun Wukong, using his transformations to disguise himself, snuck into the banquet unnoticed. As the gods and immortals gathered to enjoy the feast, Sun Wukong helped himself to the peaches, devouring them without permission. Not content with just the peaches, he also raided the Jade Emperor's wine cellar, drinking the divine wine that was reserved for the gods. His greed didn't stop there. Sun Wukong made his way to Laozi's alchemy lab, where he found the pills of immortality, another precious treasure that granted eternal life. Sun Wukong consumed the pills, further enhancing his already formidable immortality. By the time the gods realized what had happened, it was too late. Sun Wukong had consumed the peaches of immortality, the divine wine, and Laozi's pills of immortality, making him nearly invincible. His actions were the ultimate insult to the Jade Emperor and the Celestial Order. Enraged by Sun Wukong's blatant disrespect and his increasing power, the Jade Emperor knew that he could no longer afford to underestimate the Monkey King. He summoned the mightiest warriors in heaven to capture Sun Wukong, including Erlang Shen, a formidable god known for his third eye, which could see through any disguise or deception. Erlang Shen, accompanied by the 4 heavenly kings and their armies, led the charge against Sun Wukong. The battle that followed was one of the most epic confrontations in the history of heaven. Erlang Shen, with his incredible strength and strategic mind, proved to be a formidable opponent for Sun Wukong. The two engaged in a fierce duel, with neither willing to back down. Sun Wukong's transformations and clones kept Erlang Shen's forces at bay, but Erlang Shen's third eye allowed him to see through Sun Wukong's tricks. The battle raged on across the skies, over mountains and through valleys, causing the earth to tremble under the force of their blows. Despite Erlang Shen's skill and the overwhelming numbers of the celestial army, Sun Wukong remained undefeated. His immortality, combined with his magical abilities, made him nearly impossible to capture. The Jade Emperor realized that even the combined might of heaven's warriors might not be enough to subdue the Monkey King. The celestial conflict with Sun Wukong had reached a boiling point. The Monkey King had successfully defied the Jade Emperor, defeated the armies of heaven, and consumed the most sacred treasures of the gods, making him nearly invincible. Realizing that the situation was spiraling out of control, the Jade Emperor turned to the last and most powerful figure in the celestial hierarchy, Buddha, the enlightened one who resided in the Western Paradise. The Jade Emperor sent a plea for help to Buddha, acknowledging that Sun Wukong's defiance and strength could not be subdued by conventional means. Buddha, observing the chaos that Sun Wukong had unleashed, understood that the Monkey King's rebellion was not merely a physical challenge, but a spiritual one as well. Sun Wukong's immense power and defiance were fueled by his lack of understanding of the true nature of the universe and his place within it. Buddha recognized that only through wisdom and enlightenment could Sun Wukong be subdued. Descending from the Western Paradise, Buddha arrived at the Jade Emperor's court, where the gods and immortals had gathered, anxious and fearful of what Sun Wukong might do next. Buddha's presence brought a calm to the court, and the Jade Emperor, along with his ministers, bowed before the Enlightened One, placing their hopes in his ability to bring the Monkey King to justice. Buddha proposed a challenge to Sun Wukong, one that would test not just his strength, but his understanding of the cosmos. He sent word to Sun Wukong, inviting him to a contest that, if won, would grant Sun Wukong what he had always desired: recognition as the most powerful being in the universe. Confident in his abilities, Sun Wukong accepted Buddha's challenge without hesitation. He believed that he had already proven himself superior to the gods and saw this as an opportunity to cement his status as the great sage equal to heaven. When Sun Wukong arrived to meet Buddha, the Enlightened One calmly extended his right hand and presented a seemingly simple task. "If you can leap out of my hand," Buddha said, "you will have won the contest, and I will acknowledge your claim to be the great sage, equal to heaven." Sun Wukong, with his boundless confidence, laughed at the simplicity of the challenge. After all, with his cloud somersault technique, he could leap across vast distances in a single bound. He believed there was no way he could fail such a test. With a powerful leap, Sun Wukong propelled himself off Buddha's hand and soared through the skies. He traveled at incredible speed, crossing 108,000 li, approximately 54,000 kilometers, in a single somersault. After what seemed like a journey across the entire universe, Sun Wukong finally arrived at what he believed to be the end of existence. There, he found 5 enormous pillars, standing tall in a desolate landscape, marking what he assumed to be the boundary of the cosmos. Certain that he had succeeded in his challenge, Sun Wukong decided to leave his mark on one of the pillars. He inscribed his name on the pillar with a flourish and, in a final act of defiance, urinated at its base. Satisfied with his accomplishment, Sun Wukong leaped back to Buddha, confident that he had won. Returning to Buddha's hand, Sun Wukong boasted of his success, eagerly awaiting Buddha's acknowledgement of his victory. But Buddha simply smiled and asked Sun Wukong to look around. As Sun Wukong glanced around, he was shocked to see the inscription he had left on the pillar appear on one of Buddha's fingers. The realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. He had never left Buddha's hand. The 5 pillars, which Sun Wukong believed to be the boundary of the universe, were in fact the 5 fingers of Buddha's hand. His entire journey had been an illusion, a demonstration of Buddha's immense power and the true nature of the cosmos. No matter how far Sun Wukong traveled, he could not escape the hand of Buddha. Before Sun Wukong could react, Buddha swiftly closed his fingers, trapping the Monkey King within his hand. Using his divine power, Buddha then transformed his hand into a massive mountain, known as the 5 Elements Mountain, representing the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, metal, and wood. This mountain was a symbol of the natural order and the cosmic balance that Sun Wukong had defied. Sun Wukong was imprisoned beneath the 5 Elements Mountain, his body crushed under its immense weight. Buddha placed a mystical seal on the mountain to ensure that Sun Wukong could not escape, a seal that bore the inscription of Buddha's name and held the power of the universe itself. For 500 years, Sun Wukong remained trapped under the mountain, unable to move or use his powers. He was fed molten copper and iron pellets as a punishment for his arrogance and defiance. During this time, Sun Wukong had no choice but to reflect on his actions and the consequences of his rebellion. The once proud and invincible Monkey King was humbled, forced to confront the limitations of his power and the errors of his ways. His imprisonment marked a turning point in his journey, a time of suffering and contemplation that would ultimately lead to his redemption. If you want to see the redemption of Wukong, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to create that video for you. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to support the channel and watch it grow. Your support means everything. Thank you for watching, and until next time.